The first thing that anybody hears in the stream, toxic scoffing.
Yep, it's my coughing and wheezing. Hello, everyone. I am sick.
I am
Sorry to hear that, man.
I am less
I'm used to it.
sick. Still mildly sick, but not terribly sick. I have might still well I had. From, at this point, I am feeling perfectly fine, but who
Liar.
knows how much that's gonna change. Point is, had
Liar.
tonsillitis, don't have it anymore. I think, and
It
I'm good.
wasn't tonsillitis, it was cringe. You're just finally getting over it.
Yeah. Hero, how have you been?
I'm doing fine. I got a little sick last night, but aside from that, I'm a-okay.
Jesus, the internet virus is going around everywhere.
Yeah, listen, it's because I got sick and I was on call with you guys and you caught it osmosisfully. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how it works, right? I'm science, man.
I suppose. Jack, how you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm not sick. I can't throw my hat in that ring, but I'm doing
Staying this
good.
call long
Doing
enough
good.
to sick.
Hmm. Alright, so, Toxic, I presume you will be leading the discussion, considering you had issues with Jack's arguments last time that we had him on?
Well, I I don't know how to start this. So like, what is the debate exactly? Like, Elden Ring specifically should have an easy mode, or game should have an easy mode? If I'm, hmm. I also just woke up, so if I'm whoopy, that's one reason. But I'm also still sick, so my head's all kind of fuzzy and shit.
I mean, we all
I think
basically
I'll.
collectively agreed that the game shouldn't have an easy mode because the director of the game didn't want to have one.
I don't. Yeah. That's one of the things I didn't like. The whole vision argument. Well, I guess it's the same, but
Hmm.
I feel like the way it was presented was a little iffy. So I feel, this is my argument, that games like Cuphead and the Souls games, and I'm gonna go a little old school here, guess stuff like Contra and Metal Slug, um, games like that, if they had an easier mode, if they were easier games, then they wouldn't be remembered today, or they would just be tossed to the wayside. Because I feel like games that promote a challenge instead of holding your hand like a lot of the games that are coming out today. Um, I feel like those stand the test of time more. But then a lot of people are like, oh well, let's look at how many people are playing it. Oh, not many people. It's like, yeah, it's because a lot of these aren't online. They're like, there's not a lot of people playing it at the same time, but there are still a lot more people playing it. There's still people that are
Hmm.
going through it. But um, yeah, no, I just feel like not all games should have an easy mode because not all games should cater to everybody. If you can't get good at the game, if you can't get your hands around the control scheme, just play something else. There's thousands of games now. Like for me, that's Metal Gear. I tried Metal Gear Solid One, and I just couldn't get a hold of it. So I just moved on to something else.
I mean, you might have a better time with something like
I
a
mean,
Thief.
yeah, actually I played Thief, and I can't remember which one I played. I think I played the newer one.
The one from
Oh
2014.
wait, no, I'm thinking of Dishonored.
Oh,
No, I might be thinking of Dishonored. I don't know, because those games are very similar in my memory anyway. But
debatably.
well, I said in my memory. You can't debate memory, so it
Conceptually,
is shit and shot already.
they're similar in that the games where you sneak around and are discouraged from killing people most of the time.
But mm, sorry, I'm eating.
No
But
worries.
yeah, that's my whole thing. Is that these games should not have an easy mode, and if you want an easy mode, do what Cuphead did. You can only get through one level and one boss, and after that, it makes you go back to normal mode. You can't beat the game on easy mode. And a few other games do that too, but a lot of them don't come to mind. Cuphead's just fresh in the front of my mind because I've been playing it. But no, that's my argument. If you want an easy mode, make it to where it handicaps you, and you can actually finish the game. That way, you can practice in the easy mode and then play it normally.
I am inclined to
that's
agree.
My thing. Because it feels like there's way too many games that are coming out today that are holding people's hands. Journalism mode, if you will. Because you look at stuff like Metal Slug and Contra, or even the original Ninja Gaiden games. Those were hard as nails. Like, it's funny and weird that the games that our parents played before we were born are probably way harder than most of the games we'll ever play. And it's kind of weird.
The majority of games these days feel like they're, how should I put this? The first hour feels like an extended tutorial. Like, overly so. Like, I will say that, Half-Life 2's beginning was a literal tutorial, but only tutorialized aspects of the game that were, like, unique to it, like how you manipulated the physics of that game and stuff. So, that sort of thing is warranted. Like, how many games today actually let you, pick up boxes and toss them around the environment?
Yeah, but every time I bring up the argument of older games were harder, a lot of people just go, "Oh, well, they were padding it for time," because a lot of those games weren't long. It's like, maybe, but I don't think that's it. Because there were easier games back then, they weren't padded for time because of how short they were.
Sonic the Hedgehog is what a lot of people would consider one of the easier games of the time.
Yeah. Well, I think Metal Slug is so hard because it's also an arcade game too. But then again, when the games started going to console, they didn't get easier. They probably got harder, honestly.
To compensate for the fact that they couldn't munch on your coins.
Yeah. Well, the Metal Slug games weren't coin eaters. You could actually beat them. Because I've actually played a few arcade games where you literally cannot beat it unless you just have infinite coins. It's kind of ridiculous. And the sprite record's really good in those games too, so it just goes to waste. A lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember which one it was, but there was an arcade game that was built to where you couldn't beat it unless you had unlimited coins, but they didn't actually finish the later half of the game. So, when you actually went to the later half of the game, like, half the fucking assets are missing.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's because it was just built specifically to where, like, it couldn't be beat unless you had unlimited coins. So, like, people when they emulated it, they actually, kept giving themselves coins. Like, I want to see, how it's supposed to end. Like, if they actually cared. No, they didn't. They didn't. I just can't remember what arcade game it was. But no, do you agree or disagree? New person. I'm sorry.
New person? Okay, I think that's me.
Ghost Jackman.
I do agree to some extent. I believe that, as I mentioned before, if it's really up to the developer of that game, if the developer says, I don't want easy modes in this game because that's not my vision for the game, then so be it. And because we live in a society today where modding and modders in general have become so commonplace, you can get what you want anyway. So if you're the type of person that would like an easy mode in a game like Elden Ring, well, you can have that. The modders can deliver that for you. So really, like, everybody wins. Miyazaki gets to keep his vision for the game. Other people who may not be as good at that game as other people can still get the easy mode that they require. So I think everybody's happy. in that regard.
Yeah, well, I feel
I
like
mean,
if it's
some
through
there
modding,
are some
that's
outliers
fine
that
because
are
that.
upset with like the players that are modding and are like, stop having the fun the way you want to have fun.
Right.
Well,
Right.
see, with that's human inter. What's the word? It's being altered by somebody. It's
Nature.
not how it usually is. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
altering the nature of the game. So with that, I don't have an
It's
argument
in the
for it
name.
because
It's
like I mod the
It's
shit.
modding.
I'm like, for fuck's sake, like for a while I thought that for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, one of the transformations were base game, but it just now recently got added. I was like, wait, what the fuck? It's like, oh yeah, I've had this mod for so long, and it's just stayed in the game.
So, if you don't mind, if I could ask a question. Are you saying that you would prefer modders not mod the game at all in any way, shape, or form, including easy mode?
When when did I say that? I said
No,
I
that's
can't
why I'm
No,
argue
asking.
against.
he's not saying you said that. He just wants to clarify because he may have
Oh,
misheard.
oh. No, I didn't say that. If they want to mod it, they can mod it all they want. But the thing is,
Okay,
like the
cool,
base
cool.
game, the game that how it's supposed to be. Like if you want to mod it because you can't get a grasp on it, that's fine. I mean, you play it the way you want. It's just that I don't think it should have an easy mode off the bat. I really don't. Because again, I feel like if it did, games like this wouldn't last uh, like 2 years after its making. Because everybody like, oh, it's a really hard game. If you put it on hard mode, it's like, oh, that's every game.
I
You know?
mean, it would be conceptually interesting to have Dark Souls on super hard mode.
Well, a modder
Well, see, yeah,
actually
that's also where
did that.
modding. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. See, that's where modding comes in.
Right, somebody
I'd
actually
love to try to
already.
play Dark Souls on super hard mode,
Hmm.
but
Right, right. And that was a direct
yeah.
response to modders making the game a little easier. Somebody, I don't remember the person's name. Actually, if I remember correctly, it was one of the developers of Elden Ring who made a mod that makes Elden Ring even harder. And he did that in response to the modders making the game a little easier.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I wouldn't doubt it, but yeah, no. I just feel like, hmm, if you want to mod it, then that's fine. But I
Hmm.
feel like this idea that a game that you really like the way it looks and everything, but it's too hard for you to play, so it should cater to you. I don't think that's how it should be. Like
Well,
there's a
if it's
lot of things that people aren't good at, but you can't change it to make it easier for you. Well, a lot of things you can't anyway.
or well that okay, well so that sentiment it almost, how do I phrase this without being like insulting or being a jerk? It almost
Oh
sounds
no, dude,
like
just say it bluntly.
so
Don't dance
it
like
almost sounds like you're telling somebody else how they should play the game. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is that kind of where you're coming from? If the game is too hard for you, don't play it at all. Is that is that kind of where you're coming from?
hold on. You said how I'm telling someone how they should play it. If that's the normal difficulty, then and if that's how it's supposed to be played, then yeah, I am telling them how it should be played because that's how it should be played, right? That's not a pompous
Okay.
statement. It's
No, no, no,
oh, if
no.
you have to jump in this game,
Right.
so
The only problem I have with somebody saying if the game's too hard for you, don't play anyway is, well, how do you plan on enforcing that? Like, how do you? I mean, you could tell somebody if Elden Ring's too hard for you, you're not allowed to play it. You know, you're a dingbat.
whoa, whoa,
Don't play it.
whoa,
Right?
no. See, now
Like so
you're
if somebody
conflating
says
things.
that,
What I'm
I
what I'm
mean,
saying is that if
think
it's too
about it
hard
from
for you
this.
and you can't grasp on it,
Hmm.
It's
then don't
Soul that
complain
toxic
about it.
is one.
I am sorry.
My whole thing is like if you are saying, oh, this is too hard, don't complain about its difficulty. There are hundreds of games to play. If you are trying to fight the game system to get good at it, um, wait, no. If you were trying to make it easier instead of trying to get better at the game, then I feel like you should just find something else. That's not me going, oh, well, you're not allowed to play this. You're not allowed to play this just because you're not good at it. No, that's stupid. If you're not
It's
good at something,
fucking
you can always
silly.
get good at it. Okay, that was odd.
That
Okay.
I would I would agree to that to an extent, but what you said sparks a question, and that question would be,
Mm.
then what would be the purpose of telling somebody to get good if you know that that person is incapable of getting good, then why tell that
Well, I wouldn't
person
say that
to
to
get
them.
good?
Well, see, look, I would say get good, and if they can't get good, then get good at something else, I guess. The argument of getting good is not a bad argument, and a lot of people take it the wrong way because it's like, oh, well, I'm good at this game. Why can't I be good at this game? It's like, well, it's two completely different games.
That have completely different
It's not the
function
same thing.
systems and design.
Yeah. It's like one person could be godly at like Call of Duty, but suck ass at Mario. You know, two completely different games. Like, oh well, I'm good at this one. Why can't I be good at this one? I'm good. I'm a gamer. I'm a big gamer boy. Why can't I do this? It's not everything is. Not a lot of people can do this and the other. Some people can. A lot of people can. But the idea that again that it should
Hero,
change.
hold on. Hero,
Again, like if you're changing thing, but,
did you change the stream title?
Yeah.
Okay.
sneaky boy.
Well, the reason why I ask that, the reason why I asked the get good question is because, as much as I understand the concepts behind get good, people are, and I've seen this all throughout YouTube, that the sentiment behind get good usually is directed at people saying you can become better at this game, so why don't you try? So I understand the sentiment. However, there are circumstances in which there will be people, regardless of the game itself, there will be people who will not be able to get to that same level, which is why I usually argue in a very nuanced way that getting good can sometimes assume that that person can become as good either as you or as the game demands, and that there are people out there that simply lack those skills, and that's why easier difficulty settings would be nice to have implemented for people like that.
What you're saying is that a difficult game should cater to people who can't get good at the game in the first place and probably won't come back to this game style after this one, just because of how hard it was for them in the first place.
That's one possibility, but that's
No,
not every instance.
I don't think it.
I can give you
Again, like-
my personal experience if you don't mind. I played Elden Ring, and I
Okay.
mentioned this before, that I played through the game, and halfway through the game, my first 32 hours, I played without any mods. The only mod I did use actually was a pause function, because come on, not being able to. When you're a married game, not being able to pause the game when your wife is talking to you is not permissible to me. So I downloaded a pause menu to be upfront and honest with everybody. But other than that, there was no other mods that I used.
I can't exactly say
And
that's
what-
terribly unreasonable.
No,
it's
yeah,
not, it's not
exactly.
It's just a pause
But I like
button.
to be honest and upfront with that. So the first 32 hours of the game was me playing Elden Ring without any mods, and for all intents and purposes, I did indeed get good. I became familiar with what the game was demanding of me, and I was able to curve my skills necessary to beat certain bosses and so on and so forth. But the end result was I wanted to understand what the fuss was about with easy mode, so I installed one easy mode, and the entertainment value that I derived after installing the easy mode was exponentially more than when I was already learned the function of the game and grinding through the game as anyone normally would. So I'm one of the rare instances where I played the game both at the normal difficulty, which is fairly difficult, and with the mod, and I found that modding the game was far more enjoyable, and it had nothing to do with my skill set, and it had everything to do with just how I prefer to play games.
Okay, so that comes down to subjective argument, not an objective argument. So that I can't.
In that
argue
specific
against.
instance, correct, yes.
But coming from somebody that is now 150 hours into one playthrough trying to kill every boss in the game. Um, I don't personally, I don't think it's too hard. I mean, there's a lot of bosses that are complete and utter bullshit, but I mean, still, a lot of them are you don't have to kill anyway. But me, I've chosen to uh, do a genocide run and kill all the bosses. But um, how did it get better with an easy mode when you've already like gotten good at this system of the game? Because one of the things
Uh,
I noticed that you talked about was
so you got static.
I got static.
yeah, you got some sound yeah, you got sound coming out there, buddy.
Uh, I think that might be my computer's fan. I don't know how to.
Oh,
Maybe if I let me try something.
mute when you're not talking and unmute when you're talking. I mean, that's what I've been
Is the
doing while I'm
sound still
talking.
coming through?
Yes.
Shit. Let me try this then. That any better? I guess not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it only happens when you talk, but yeah, it's fine. It's not happening on its own anymore. I'm
I'll
sorry,
just
where
keep
was
my
I?
mic off when I'm not speaking.
Okay. Um, shit, now I can't remember what I was saying.
You were
Where
about
was
to
I?
ask me why my enjoyment
Ah,
was more so playing the
yeah.
game on an easier setting than yeah.
Yeah, why was that? Because like one of the arguments that I did see in the previous debate was that you wanted to take in the scenery. You can take in
Mm-hmm.
the scenery even with on normal mode. Because again, like I've played it for a long time. Um, the specific spots that you can stand in where you could see the beautiful vistas and all the beautiful parts of the game aren't really enemy heavy, and that's by design. And if there are enemies, or at least in the spots that I can remember off the top of my head, um, there's not that many enemies there. Um, so I don't know what you meant by the easier mode allowed you to see more things in the game.
Because when the difficulty is lowered, you have less time in combat and you have less opportunity to die, which means more time traveling back to where you were. So really, more for me, it was more of a time restraint. And so when the difficulty was lowered, I was able to kind of. I still had to play by the game's rules. It was just wasn't as intense as it once was, because at the point that I was in the game, I was already at a level in which I was already doing pretty well. Compound that with the easy mode. On top of that, I was able to then kind of, I wouldn't say breeze through, but it was much easier in all of the battles that I had, so I was able to get through the battles quicker in order to take in the environment, take in what was happening around me, looking at the beautiful architecture and so on and so forth. I was able to do that at ease more often and take my time with that, as opposed to having to think about battling the next foe for the next, like 5 minutes or
Would
something.
you say it was a more relaxing
Hold on.
experience?
Oh, absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
did you say okay? Were you 5 minutes? Are you exaggerating that, or is that
I'm
an
using an
actual number?
arbitrary number. I'm just using an arbitrary
Okay, I
number.
was about to say like if you're taking 5 minutes to kill a single enemy, then
Yeah,
easy
no,
mode.
no, that's. I was being a little facetious. It was an arbitrary number.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. Like I feel like on normal mode you could have, if you, as you say, were good at the game, decent
Hmm.
enough, you could have easily killed them and still taken in everything. But adding the easy mode just cuts down on that time and enemies that you have to kill.
Exactly, it cuts down the time because for some people, especially 41-year-old married guys trying to get through nursing school, I don't. Time isn't at my fingertips anymore as it used to be when I was younger.
Hmm.
So
So
now
my
I
question is, why would if time is of the essence, why would you play a game like Dark Souls that at most uh, could probably take a lot of people if you're trying to do the run I am almost 200 hours to play
mhm.
how I'm playing at least, if you're doing the bare minimum, like 3 hours. If you're trying to speed wave through everything, but with that you have to um, don't level up and everything. It's like the hardest run you could do for the game. You just uh, fight the bare minimum bosses and then beat the game. But why choose a game that's so large in scale and scope if time is of the essence for you?
The answer is really easy. Modders. That's why. I knew that modders existed. I knew that modders have mod the game to make it easier. So I knew that if by chance I wasn't able to become as good as the game demands, that I could always install an easy mode that makes it easier. Then I can still play and have fun with the game regardless. So modding is the answer to your question.
Okay. Um. Hmm.
So
So
it was
a lot of the stuff
so
comes
it
from
was like a
modding.
no risk situation for me. There was no risk at all.
Okay, I can't argue with that. Um, so do well. Let's actually go back to the getting good argument.
Okay.
You said that a lot of people can't get good at certain things. So should it automatically change itself just to make a handful of people happy?
No, and actually, that's where that's a very good question, and there's a couple of different answers. One of them being, as I said before, I will always stand on the side of the developer, and since the developer in this case, Miyazaki, does not want easy mode, so he will never implement easy modes in the game on his own volition. I would stick
Mm.
by him sticking to his guns every time. However, since modders do exist, that
Well, not everybody
alleviates
can
some
actually
of that.
get their hands on modding ability. A lot of people are stuck with console and stuff. I mean, that's what I've been playing mine on because my PC's dead right now. So I've
Right. I
been
mean,
playing it
obviously, for
on.
console players, that's not really going to be
Yeah.
possible. But for PC players like me, that it's still possible. So,
Mm.
there's no real risk, as I mentioned before. Uh, the second uh, the second argument I wanted to articulate actually is that, um, as I mentioned before, everybody has skill sets, right? So not everybody is going to
Mm.
be as good as you at certain things. So
Mm.
um, I created kind of a humorous. It's just for levity's sake. It's just a humorous example. But let's say I wanted to throw you in the ring with Mike Tyson, and right before I hit the bell, I said, "Get good, son," and then I ring the bell. What's going to happen? About 2 seconds
Okay,
later,
so that situation, you're forcing me into it. You're not handing me something and saying, "Hey, try this." See,
right,
that the example that you're giving is forceful, not um, being able to choose whether I want to play something or not.
right,
No one's
exactly,
forcing anybody to play these games, and if you do want
exactly,
to actually get good at the game, instead of having to turn to mods, which is
is
the immediate
completely
response for a lot of people, then if you like it so much, if you want to, like, if you're willing to mod it just to play it, why not just try to actually learn the game's mechanics and just get good at it in the first place?
right, right,
That's
and
my
that's a very good point. Why not just learn the game? Exactly. So the answer to that is there will be people out there. There are people that exist out there in the big bad world that lack the skills necessary to become as good that is necessary to beat a game like Elden Ring. Therefore, having a way out, having a mod that will bring the game down to their level would be nice. And that's the basis of my argument. It's not mandatory. If Miyazaki doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to. But because modders exist, it's nice for that option to become available for somebody who may not have that skill set.
So you've turned your argument from an objective thing to a subjective thing, meaning that there's not nobody can really argue with your statement. With mods, it's other people editing it. Who cares, you know? But if it was an argument of if the base game should actually have an easy mode, then that's a debate. But I feel like with this, it's just saying, oh well, mods exist, and I really can't do anything with that. Um,
Well, because then you would be taking away agency from Miyazaki, and that is something I would never want to do. That's why I try to separate my two arguments as fairly as I can, and that is let Miyazaki do his thing, and everyone's just going to have to, suck it up. If he doesn't want easy modes, fine, so be it. But because modders exist, there is a way for other people out there who lack the skills necessary to be as good at Elden Ring as other people, like you or anyone else. They have that option then. So you're not hurting anyone else by downloading the mod. You're still, in fact,
if I may interject
it's my most
for a moment.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've been spending the past minute or so trying to speak, then I just realized that I have my mic flipped upwards.
I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
But yeah, as I was about to say,
you forgot to click the button again.
Oh my God.
As I was saying, Toxic, I was about to state that you can technically argue against subjective statements, but it comes down to an argument of basically, like, preference. Or like, oh, my preference is better than yours,
Well, see, with that, saying mine is better, that is an objective thing, not a subjective thing. If you're saying that one thing that is subjective is better, objectively, then that is the argument.
However, if I may inject, 'cause that's a really important point that you just made that I really want to extrapolate on a little bit. Subjectively, if you say now, okay, so a perfect example. I'm so glad you said that. This goes to the heart of the matter. Have you guys ever heard of a YouTuber by the name of the Act Man?
Yes, I have. I am a very big fan of him, actually.
Excellent. He's a smart guy. Love that guy. Love his material. But he made a video regarding Elden Ring, and he said a few things that it made me scratch my head because it wasn't very logical. And this is what it was. He kept insinuating that his experiences with Elden Ring, more specifically being difficulty equals satisfaction. He kept saying that over and over and over again. And that is objectively untrue, because what he's doing is he's injecting his own subjectivity to how he finds his entertainment value. In what way he gauges his entertainment value from a game. And that value will not be the same for everybody else.
Well,
Hence,
you said he's gauging his own. So why are you trying to bring other people's into it? If he's gauging his own...
Toxic, didn't you say that he was using his own as like the standard for what other people should be experiencing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That is exactly what he was doing throughout the video. He kept stating that satisfaction equals difficulty, and he was using that as an objective standard for how everyone else should see the game, and that's a theological problem there, because then he goes into subjectivity and not objectivity.
I feel like that is a good argument, though, that difficulty equals satisfaction. Like, if you actually work towards a goal instead of just having it handed to you.
The act of overcoming difficulty is the satisfying part.
I feel like you can get a lot more out of it.
I mean, not necessarily.
I'm really glad you said that. Again, that's another good point. So, if you're overcoming something... So, I have an example to share. What if a person that may not be as skillful as you in Elden Ring, but in easy mode feels as difficult as normal mode for you, could that person not feel the same satisfaction for defeating a certain boss?
Well, if an easy mode is difficult for you, then why are you still playing the game? That's my question.
So that's a different question. You didn't answer his, Toxic.
So again,
I guess you're right. No, you are right, because it's the same thing. Difficulty, overcoming something difficult is good for a lot of people. I feel like you can get a lot out of that. But again, my question is, if you are playing it and you are having difficulty out of an easy mode, why are you still playing?
Because that difficulty mode may be a difficulty that you can overcome. Now, if you can't, there is a possibility
I guess, but my whole thing is like, if the base game is too hard for you, and you go, oh well, I'm just gonna mod it, and you mod it, and it's still too hard for you, why still play it? Like you're playing the game.
Well, he didn't say that it got too hard for him in the hypothetical.
No. In the hypothetical, if something is that hard with an easy mode, why still play it? I think I'm just having an issue with that.
That's valid. That's totally valid, and I would love to respond to that. So that is a valid concern. So if the person is still unable to play the game even on an easy mode, then you would have to, at that point, succeed to the point that everything should be permissible within reason. And this is a situation where if somebody is still incapable of playing a game and beating it on easy, say like somebody from IGN, oh, stab there. If somebody's incapable of doing that even on easy mode, well, then yeah, that person has a mechanical issue, and that person shouldn't be playing the game. That's why I say within reason. That's why difficulty settings are there in general. It's within reason. If hard is too hard, drop it down to normal. If normal's too hard, drop it down to easy. If easy is too hard for you, then my apologies, this isn't your thing. So everything within reason.
Well, I have a question. What if someone just mods the game to make it even easier?
Well, I would find that permissible. To find so if everything's like a one-shot kill, if that's how somebody wants to have fun, I'm all for it. But again, within the general consensus of reason, if easy mode's not easy enough for you, then I guess you could mod it. That is fair. But I could go back even a step further and say, what if you mod the game and everything was one shot, but you're so mechanically not inclined that you're just dying nonstop anyway? Then obviously you've hit a wall, and it's not about the difficulty anymore. It's about your mechanical wherewithal or your mechanical skills.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I don't know. I still think the get good argument still applies to a lot of things. And if you for me, it's not like a malicious thing. Like if you can't get good at it, then just go play something else. Again, thousands of games, and more being released every day.
Right.
Tens of thousands.
So, yeah. Indie developers are getting to the point to where they're making such games that they're actually rivaling AAA studios at this point.
And they're independent of that. Right. I'm totally on board with that.
And some people
it's gotten to the point where a lot of these AA studios are producing games just as good as AAA titles, but without the big money behind them. Without somebody saying, you must have such and such politics in your game or else we strip funding.
And
thankfully,
somehow some people are managing to make whole-ass games within a week alone.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, my argument is still just if you can't get good at it, you can mod it all you want, but the base game shouldn't have to change itself just so that you can be happy. If you want to change it on your own, go for it. Who cares? But the base game shouldn't have to change itself just so it can make you happy. It's like what they're doing right now with The Last of Us 1. They're remaking The Last of Us 1, that way The Last of Us 2 can actually happen.
Right.
Or remastering it or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be easier than the original one.
I didn't. I don't want to get too political here, but I stayed far away from The Last of Us 2 for political reasons, and I instead played Days Gone, and I love that game. I think it's a great replacement for The Last of Us 2.
I stayed away from it because it was just shit.
I would agree only on political terms. It was ham-fisted. The politics was ham-fisted.
Bigot Sandwich was definitely ham-fisted.
Yeah.
That is definitely a kind way of putting it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it PG here, guys.
Oh, dude, no, we're not PG at all. We don't give a fuck.
I'm
We
probably one of the
are
more.
the hardest of R's. We're not quite X though.
Whoa.
I'm
What?
probably the hardest of R's. Yeah, that I like that. I may steal that.
Get it now. I took it the wrong way.
I'm probably one of the most PG-13, if not like closest to R-rated Christians you'll ever meet. I'm pretty extreme, in fact.
Are you a radical boy? Hashtag radical 90s style.
Yeah. Well, then you would have to define radical. But yeah, that's a whole nother argument that maybe we can have
Hashtag
one
radical 90s style, dog.
day. Radical man. Well, I'm not a radical Baptist. I can at least share that much. Those people are insane.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this games are fucking shit now.
I like how we just jumped right on into that, and I would have to agree that a lot of the games releasing today these days are just it's utter garbage. Look at what's happening to Blizzard Entertainment. Look at what's happening to our precious darling. It's like a wayward son that just completely defied family values and just decided that they wanted. I could go on. I won't.
We could all go on about the stuff that's been happening at Blizzard, but do we really want to? I mean, it doesn't help that I already talked about it like months ago, with Raiden.
Yeah.
Back when it was just me and him.
I have a very personal gripe with Blizzard because I can't say much and I won't be too specific, but I will say I know someone that works for Blizzard Entertainment, and if Blizzard succeeds, so does my friend succeed, and I love my best friend. I love that man with every fiber of my being, and I want him to succeed. But with what I'm seeing out of Blizzard Entertainment lately is absolute garbage. It is profound garbage, and I'm getting to the point where I told my buddy, dude, I may have to boycott your company too because it sucks. The stuff they're pumping out, guy, is terabad. Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch 1 with new makeup and one less character to play per team.
There's literally one less character? What the fuck?
It's 5. Oh, you didn't hear? It's 5v5 now instead of 6v6.
What? Why?
It
was going to be.
They're going to get people pushed through.
It's not even a new Code of Pain. It's literally just, oh, we made the levels that were in day night, and the levels that were in night day. Buy our game.
By that point, just make Overwatch a service game and just keep adding characters. Like
that's
because you can't really. It's like the GTA syndrome. It's like you can't really make another game. Like offline, the story for another game would be fine. It's just like you would have to carry over all that GTA Online shit to the new game, just because of how much content there is. Same thing with Xenoverse 2 for Dragon Ball. It's like adding a 3 to the game won't really change anything. Like there's a few things you can add, but not enough to actually warrant a entirely new game.
Right. I am fully behind that. I'm completely behind that. So if anyone wants a quick overview of Overwatch 2, yeah, it's 5v5. Just as who spoke? Was it not Hero? It was Souls. Was it the Englishman or the Australian?
Australian.
Oh my God, you're an Englishman now. How does it feel? How does it feel, Aussie boy?
That's why I questioned it. I didn't want to be too offensive. So yeah. So and what's your name again?
You make fun of each other here all the time.
I don't want to get your name wrong. What's your name again?
You can call me Grim, Soul, whatever you please. Grim. Just don't call me Shirley.
All right.
I can call you Slur.
Certainly not.
I mean, you've given me permission now. You told me that I can call you anything.
So again, Grim pointed out something else that I kind of like. Yes, they did
Yeah.
change the atmosphere of some of the games to be from day to night or night to day. Now, for me, having a little variety is nice, but if that's all you're bringing to the next installment, and you dare to put a number 2 at the end of that title, why?
Yeah.
Why even? What? It's so utterly ridiculous, and
Oh, it's
it's
simple
not
money
providing
laundering.
any real value to the gaming community. There's no real value. Same with Diablo
Money
Immortal, but that's a
laundering.
whole other
That's all
story.
it is. It's
Yes.
I feel like again, like all this stuff could have been added to the game that was already out,
It would be a
but
different
you
matter if they
made
brought out mostly new maps and ported over only a handful of them, of the original maps,
Mm.
like if it was
and
the
remixed them in some way. Like, an actual big part of the map was like heavily changed. You know, like in Halo 2,
expanded
you
map.
had Blood Gulch. The edge bases had 2 levels to them now. They were expanded
Mhm.
upon.
Yeah, but
Or
I
with
again I
Halo
just feel like it's
3,
money laundering.
Valhalla, it's technically a remix of Blood Gulch, but it looks completely different.
Mm.
Just because of how much is changed on a conceptual level, as well as, like, the addition of, like, the wrecked pelican and the big stream going through the map.
Right.
It also
Right.
helps that, like,
Mhm.
both both sides look completely distinct from one another because of, like, one's a wall, one's just out to the ocean.
Mm.
So not a lot of effort was put in, is what you're saying.
A lot of effort was put into the. I wouldn't even call Valhalla a remix. It's basically its own map. It just reuses the same idea as Blood Gulch.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
You know, two bases on opposing sides.
Mm. You know, that sparked a memory regarding Overwatch. When I don't know what. I'll kind of open this up as a
I
question.
I
When
will be right back.
Sure.
3 minutes.
You want me to wait, or keep going?
I think we should wait for him.
All right, that sounds good. I was just gonna ask a question about the Overwatch League. Something bugs me about that.
Ask a question about the. Oh, yeah. I got him.
That's where I'm gonna go. Have you got while our hero in waiting here is doing his thing? Did you guys hear about what's happening with with the Rings of Power? Have you guys been following that?
Oh, how like at least almost half the budget, which is in total like $1 billion, is being used on props, sets, and costumes that are only gonna appear in future seasons.
That and how they keep reiterating that the show is about diversity, yet when articles comes out about the show, they shy away from diversity. It's hilarious. So we all know what the show is really going to be about. It's going to suck. It's going to be terrible. It already looks horrible. I've seen the
The
Wire
first trailer that I
thing, and
saw looked horrible.
oh, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be
It
absolutely
literally
abysmal.
looked unfinished.
But hey, at least we get our first Dwarf of Color. At least we have that after all. That's something to look forward to.
It doesn't make any sense if they spend all their time underground. How do they get tanned? Let alone get enough melanin in their skin to look like that.
Hey, bigot. Hey, bigot. You watch yourself. It's gonna be terrible.
I'm not
guys.
a
No,
racist.
and what I've said
I am
before in
the
one of my previous
racism.
videos, if you think if you think the blowback for the Rings of Power is bad, wait until they try to pervert Narnia. Wait until and they will. These people cannot help themselves. They will pervert Narnia, and it's going to be 10 times as bad as Rings of Power. Because not only will be dealing with all of nerdom, they will then be toe-to-toe with all of Christendom. And that is a war Hollywood does not want to wage. But they're going to do it. I promise you. It's all a matter of when and not if. The blowback from that is going to be, it's going to be epic.
I'm back. What are we discussing?
Just had a little spout about how Hollywood's gonna try and take down, try and go after Narnia once they're done with defiling Lord of the Rings.
Defiling.
I doubt they're gonna go after Narnia, but yeah.
I'm thinking they will. I'm thinking it's all a matter of when, because these people they can't help themselves, man. They cannot help. The only since all that theology can do is corrupt and pervert. It cannot create anything of sophistication and cannot create anything that will connect with people.
They can't create anything. So
the only thing that
they
can do is take what already exists and
of intellectual substance.
Right. Exactly.
Mind you,
Eric Jelani.
By the way, Jack. Growing up, I really loved watching the Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe movie. I genuinely adored it.
The original animated one, or the
live action one from like the 90s or early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s, right?
Definitely not the 90s.
Yeah, definitely not the 90s, because the only adaptation from the 20th century I know about is that British television adaptation from the 80s.
And you know, everyone in this room knows that when and if they ever do pervert Narnia, they're gonna make Aslan some trans hybrid, black animal hybrid. They're gonna make the queen a literal drag queen. They're gonna do it, and then they're gonna tell us that it's normal. It's totally normal. Because that's what they've been doing. Look at what they've done with the Wheel of Time. Look at what they've done with The Witcher. Even though The Witcher, I mean, it wasn't that
in
terrible.
In the words of a certain Welsh man,
like in The Witcher,
in the words of a certain,
they weren't supposed to be the other races except the Asians and the whites.
In the words of a certain Welsh man, now that's just silly.
But no, a buddy of mine, we were actually watching it, and keep in mind he's black. He was saying that there shouldn't have been black characters in The Witcher because there weren't any in the books.
Right.
Because the only reason that there were even other races were because of some kind of multiverse Earth clash bullshit or something.
Right. Yep.
That's the only reason why there's monsters and other races on the planet.
Right. And
I don't know. I'm going off what he was telling me.
You're absolutely right. It was a work of Polish literature, and so therefore there was no other ethnicity in there because it was Polish. The same with Tolkien. It is a European-centered fictional piece of literature, and so it was centered on that specific region. And that doesn't mean that other people can't have a connection with those characters. You still can. Like, growing up, one of my favorite comic book heroes was Spawn, and that dude was black. So, I want that whole community to explain that to me.
Not only was he black, he's also undead. Kind of like me.
It's getting so
You mean why your favorite character is a dead black guy?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I'm also dead, so I can relate to that.
Tell me now, why is this good to me? Tell me. But it's this weird thing. Honestly, I feel like the only good race swap I've ever seen in anything was in the Castlevania anime, with Hector, because in the games he was just a edgy white dude with a big tattoo on his back, and now he actually has depth in character.
That's cool. That's cool. So, I mean, sometimes it can work, but
Very
when you're
rarely,
race
but
swapping
yeah.
just for the sake of race swapping, because if you don't like it, then you're racist. Like if that's your argument, then take a hike.
Yeah.
That's just not good enough.
Yeah, that's a really dumb argument.
Yep.
Oh,
And
well,
I
this
hear that
character
all the
can't
time.
act at all. It's like, oh, you're just a racism. It's like, I'm not a racism. No.
Yeah, this isn't. But in fact, I'll take that one step further. When in the not the Rise, the Rings of Power, when the actress who plays Disa, that black chick, I don't remember her name, but she says over and over and over again in all of her interviews, "I'm the first dwarf of color." Why is that important? Why do you keep saying dwarf of color? That sounds so stupid. Like I don't know if that lady can hear herself saying that, and she says, "Oh, wait a minute, that sounded really dumb. I should stop saying that." But you keep saying it. But they do that, so when people like us do react and say that sounds stupid, they can throw the racism card. Oh, you're saying it's stupid because you're racist. But that's still not a good argument. What they're doing is they're saying, now that they have black female dwarves in Lord of the Rings, now Lord of the Rings is better. They're saying race swapping makes the lore better, when the lore was perfectly fine as it was. And Eric July on Geeks and Gamers just recently said this, and I totally agree with him. Why do they gotta keep perverting white literature? Why can't they just dip into black literature? Why can't they just
like actual
Well-
historical and mythical stories that
Well, I think.
these people have
Yes!
from their own.
Well, I mean, I have the answer. Lord of the Rings is a very popular IP that makes a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah,
Money,
well,
money.
they're just
All the money.
piggybacking off popular things is what they've always done.
I mean, in the
There's
case of,
actually a movie coming
I
out.
will say something real quick. In the case of something like Record of the Lotus War, that is definitely heavily inspired and probably wouldn't exist without Lord of the Rings. It is still its own property.
Okay.
Okay, what does that have to do with
Yeah.
what we're talking about?
Oh, well, it was
You're
made.
fine.
It was made by the Japanese.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
I suppose
No,
nothing at all.
I get his line of thinking. It's fine.
I thought it was
But-
for him. It's all good.
But yeah, no, there's actually a movie coming out finally that actually does have to do with African history, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be nice. It's gonna be cool. Finally, something that I can actually watch, based on Black history that isn't a movie about slavery.
And
Come on, let's go.
not turn up my nose.
It was, huh? But anyway, but the movie is about I don't know if these people actually existed. It's like a female warrior tribe that kills a bunch of Europeans that come over to try to get slaves, and who knows? It might be a really cool movie. But from the trailer, it just kind of looks cringe. I'm not gonna lie. Trailer gives off that vibe. I hope it's gonna be good. I really do. But then again, it's a modern movie, so I doubt it's gonna be good.
There you go. I was just about to.
I mean, I've heard mixed things about the new Predator movie, so seems that people are taking perspectives from all over the place about it.
Yeah.
The
Well,
idea that
the Native Americans don't speak Native American.
I mean, there is a dub that does that.
There's a dub.
Yeah, and yeah, there is a dub, and the settlers speak French in the dub.
I mean, my main point of criticism is that sometimes they just throw in words of their native language in with English in the English dub. It's very weird when there's direct translations. So it just feels a little odd. Like I'm fine with
It,
names and stuff, but like
what it feels
at
like
one
it's
time they use like their like tribe's native word for the flower.
yeah. It feels like one of those things where like someone Latin in the U.S. that also speaks Spanish. Sometimes they mix in Spanish with uh, English.
Mm.
I feel like that's what it feels like to me, but it shouldn't be happening back then.
Well, I mean the
Because
problem.
it's
Well,
becoming
it's like
first place.
well they're not speaking English and then throwing in those words. They're supposed to be speaking their language, but we're hearing English
Exactly.
from an audience's perspective.
Right. Right.
Exactly. Now, if they did what they did with Vikings, I'd be fine, because in Vikings, when there's a scene of people that can't speak their language, they don't do it for the entire scene. They do it sometimes. They sprinkle it in, where the two sides are speaking completely different languages, but one person, uh, being the main character, can actually speak the language of the people that they just invaded. So in some spots, it will open up with both sides speaking a completely different language, like Old English and Nordic. And as the scene progresses, they start speaking the way that we could hear them.
A way that we can understand them.
Well,
Yeah,
Faye
it's a
sort
lot
of does
easier on the
that
actors. Hmm?
when the main character is well spoilers. When the main character is captured by some French settlers, the entire film they have the French people speaking French, except for one character who specifically says that he can speak the native language, so then he can communicate with her. But then when he talks to like his people, he talks in French.
Hmm.
Huh.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got a little bit off topic. Where were we supposed to be going with this?
I have no idea.
Off topic on this podcast. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, we don't do that.
Oh yeah, totally
Heresy. That's what that was.
don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're on topic all the time, as straight as an arrow.
Do you
But,
guys mind if I ask a question that kind of starts a new thing, well, not
Sure,
debate,
go
but a
ahead.
new subject?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Are you guys? Or actually, I should make it a little bit more vague. What game or games are you guys most excited to release in the near future? What are you guys excited about releasing?
Probably God of War Ragnarok.
Dark Tide, Warhammer.
Dogtide. Maybe Arc 2, but like, you know, what exactly is
I
it?
mean, I would say Cult of the Lamb, but it already released yesterday.
Like, what exactly is there to go in concerning like the Arc series? What I don't really understand the actual story around it. I know that there is one, but it's mostly in like text documents and shit. But it just seems really
Dude,
confusing to me.
I bought Ark in like an hour after I bought it. They announced part 2. Pissed me the fuck off.
Hurry up!
Yeah,
Play through Arc 1.
I do find it funny though that as far as I can tell, they seem to be going for a more straightforward narrative. As far as I can tell, due to the presentation of that trailer for Arc 2 featuring Vin Diesel.
Exactly. How can you resist some Van Diesel?
Family. This dinosaur is family. Nothing can defeat family.
The fast and the ferocious.
Stop.
That's pretty good.
But I would say Cult of the Lamb, but Cult of the Lamb came out a handful of days ago. Or actually, no, it came out yesterday, the day before yesterday.
Isn't there supposed to be a sequel to A Plague's Tale coming out some
There's a bunch of
later?
indie titles that I'm keeping my eye on right now.
Isn't there a sequel to A Plague's Tale
From
coming
what I
out
heard,
like
yeah.
sometime soon? Or something?
I think so.
Well,
this
this makes the games that I'm looking forward to sound really dorky. Wow. I'm looking forward to the Harry Potter game. Well, it's not Harry Potter, but it is Harry Potter.
The
Game is coming out at the
Harry
end of
Potter
this year.
RPG thing.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Starfield, even though I
they're
know.
making an update to Wizard
Yeah,
101.
yeah. They're making a straight up RPG. You roam around. You get to go to Hogwarts, and actually, yeah, that's the name of it.
Oh, that's
Hogwarts
cool.
or another. Yeah. I'm excited about the game, and I can't remember the game's name.
Hmm.
I'm a liar.
Yeah.
And then Starfield, but we all know that game's gonna be riddled with bugs, and modders are gonna have to fix
Yeah.
it. And I don't
And
know how that's become.
from presentations, from what I've seen, Bethesda has downgraded their mouth animations, or they just don't have interpolation on them yet. In which case, why are you presenting this now?
Right.
Mm.
And obviously Witcher 4, but that's not coming out for
Yeah.
a very long time. And they're using Unreal Engine 5 for it. That makes me happy.
They're actually using the Unreal 5 engine now.
Yep. The Witcher 4 is being built with Unreal 5.
Well,
It's
I
gonna
expect
look-
the game to be real pretty then. Even though I do
Oh, yeah.
do have
Well, of
constantly
course, it's gonna
say.
be pretty. It's a modern game. All they think about nowadays is if it looks pretty.
Hmm.
Well, I like looking
You know
at
what I
pretty things.
I want an N64 style game to come out that has just so much shit in it that you will never be able to beat it in your lifetime. That's what I want.
So
I want a
you
game
want
that
you
looks like
want
ass.
Donkey Kong
Amazing.
Country 3D 2.
Mm-mm.
Or a hat. I was gonna say Hats in Time because that game's pretty long and seems like it never ends.
Hmm.
The Hat in Time is really fun. I was
That was
playing
a
it.
fun game.
I would
For
love
fun.
to
I
play
really
a
liked it.
hand time.
I liked it.
Definitely feels like a GameCube game. 100% feels like a GameCube game.
Even looks like one to some extent. In like
Oh
a
yeah, the entire thing's a love letter to GameCube games.
in like a good way. Like it looks like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be out of place next to Super Mario Sunshine.
Fucking love Sunshine. We're finally in a day and age where we're getting ROM hacks for GameCube games.
Yeah.
There's this big
Nice.
ROM hack coming out for Mario 64. Mario Sunshine, I mean.
The Super
feel
Mario
like
Sunshine
people-
still looks really pretty.
Of course it does. I feel like a lot of people just focus too much on graphics.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, but it looks like it came out on PS3. I was like, so? Is it fun?
Yeah.
Hey, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. The GameCube,
Well, there's
like,
the
people
GameCube had a
complain
lot
about
of really pretty games for its time.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, so did
Like,
so did
I get
PS
it. If it looks like
Granted, so did
That clunky
PS2. It
thing
had
off
like
from the game.
it had like Metal Gear Solid 3, Zone of the Enders,
Ratchet and Clank.
oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter.
Hmm.
Spyro the Dragon.
Hero, what we...
Spyro came
Yeah,
out on
Spyro.
PS1.
The first Spyro, I tried playing again. It's bad.
Spyro.
It looks horrendous, honestly, even for a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
The first Spyro looks bad. The rest of them are fine.
The remake looks gorgeous. I actually
Crash Bandicoot.
It's fantastic.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hero, what was it?
Spider-Man 2 for PS2. But yeah, Hero, you were gonna say something.
I was saying I unfortunately have to leave.
Oh, okay, sorry, man.
All right.
So have a nice time, guys. It was
Alright.
good talking to you.
Thanks, man. See
See you
ya.
later,
I
Hero.
gotta go.
Thanks for
Yeah.
contacting me.
I'm starting to feel sick again, and I'm getting sleepy. So I might have to head to bed, honestly.
If you end
That's
up
good, that's
starting
good.
to pass out, I'll
We can
slap
call
you
it.
I'm
awake.
just miserable.
Don't worry. I'll slap you awake.
No. No, I do gotta go.
More.
I also gotta start making dinner, too, so
Alright then.
there's that. So, unfortunately, I gotta call it here, too.
Alright then, see ya, man.
Thanks a lot for having me on, guys.
No worries.
Yeah, man.
It was a fun ride.
It was a nice discussion. I will talk
It was
to you
fun.
all. Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway,
See you guys later.
I hope you all well. And I guess we'll leave it out from there. Have a good one, everybody who ended up tuning in. Ciao. Do you have any closing statements, Jack?
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks a lot for having me on again. It was a lot of fun. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
If you ever want to do this again, always hit me up. Now you guys know how to hit me up. I'm always on Gab. So, yeah, thanks a lot. And you have yourself a splendoriferous day.
Thank you. I guess this is the
See you later.
Soulcast, and we're out. See you, everybody.